Hi, this is Jeremy Kellett, Director of Recruiting here at Oakley Trucking, and I'm your host for this podcast. This is episode 39. So on today's podcast, we're going to talk to a couple of ladies here that their husbands work at Oakley Trucking. We're going to learn a little bit about them and get a wife's perspective on things here at Oakley Trucking. Going to talk to them about just being a truck driver's wife in general and what things they have to take care of at the house while he's on the road, and just understand a little bit more about that, how they keep a marriage together, how they manage money. So looking forward to talking to them here in just a second. But first, I want to thank you guys for listening to the podcast. It's doing really good, doing better. I appreciate the input that all of you give to us and the comments and wanting to hear things. We have started putting it on YouTube now. That is going to start coming out here in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to that because, I think it's just a different, another avenue where people can see us more and learn about Oakley Trucking. And, that's the whole purpose of this podcast is learning more about Oakley Trucking. If you work here or if your family, part of it, works here, or employees or owner-operators wanting to lease on. So looking forward to that. Also want to say if you're interested in leasing on Oakley Trucking, you think this may be a company for you, call us up. Call the recruiting department and talk to the guys in the recruiting department. You can go to oakleytrucking.com and find out all the information there too. And of course, YouTube, we got videos up explaining everything. But I encourage you to call 800-662-0875, ask for recruiting, and we'll be able to visit with you. Before we get started though, let's hear from Vickie Chastain on this week's Need to Know segment.
Good driving manners result in less stressful life. Relax and think about your fellow drivers on the road, especially the truck drivers out there. These drivers bring you everything. If they're merging onto a busy highway, maybe hang back or merge left to let them in. Give them some space. Don't tell and don't cut them off. These things can be frustrating when they happen to a regular driver on the road, but for a truck driver, they're downright dangerous. Your safety is important, and your actions and your decisions on the road influence that. Put yourself in a trucker's shoes and drive accordingly. I'm Vickie Chastain, and that's this week's Need to Know segment.
Okay, so today I have two lovely ladies joining me for this podcast today, Miss Sherry Eads and Laura Floyd. How are y'all doing today?
All right.
Glad y'all came in. I appreciate y'all coming into the podcast studio in the new office. Is it your first time seeing the new office?
Yes.
Pretty nice, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We have come a long ways from the old dungeon over there.
This is spacious
this
over
is,
here.
Isn't it nice?
It is nice.
Compared to the paneling on the walls over there, the wood paneling, well, most of it, and all the desks crammed together. Now we're state of the art. We are looking good over here, so it's good. I appreciate y'all joining us and giving us some insight. I think this is good for our listeners to get a wife's perspective of things going on at Oakley Trucking, and we get a lot of wives' comments, here at Oakley and input, and we think it's a very important role as being a wife of a truck driver. You guys, y'all are involved a lot, so I want to touch on some things about that. But first, before we do, I want to get a little history, a little background of who you are and what you do, and a couple of things like that. You want to start with you, Miss Floyd, and tell us your name and where you're from and what you do.
Okay. Well, my name's Laura Floyd. My husband's Terry Floyd. We've been married about 6 years now, together 12, 13 years, something like that. But between the two of us, we've got 7 grown kids.
Oh, my.
Yeah. And they're all out of the house. Several of them married. We actually got 2 grandkids now.
Great.
So,
where y'all live at?
We live in North Little Rock.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
I knew it was close. I wasn't sure if it's how close it was. So that works. That's pretty convenient, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, and I work full-time for Alliance Parts Warehouse. I'm an accounting specialist there. So.
How long you been there?
I've been there about 5 years now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And
they sell aftermarket auto parts, so.
Oh, okay. I think I have heard of them. I think I do.
If you've seen the little bumper-to-bumper logo on some of your shops and stuff like that,
yeah,
that means that they're affiliated with our company.
Okay.
Yep.
And Terry, how long have y'all been leased on here to Oakley?
He will be there 4 years this month, actually.
And he pulls hopper bottom, right?
Right. He started out in dump for about the first 6 months, but then he switched to hopper, and he's been on hopper ever since.
I didn't realize that
Yeah.
he had done both, so that's good to know. He's done both. And he Russell's his dispatcher, or Russell
Yes.
and William, I guess, or who
Yes.
dispatches him on a day-to-day basis. Okay, fantastic. All right, Miss Eads, give us a little bit of history on you, please.
My name is Sherry Eads, and I'm married to Eric Eads. Been with Oakley's about 8 years. We have 2 boys that are grown. They're 23 and 25. We live in Ward. We have a little farm, I guess. I'm
do
a
you?
hairdresser. Been a hairdresser for 25 years.
They're in Ward or Cabot?
Yes,
or
in Ward. The shop is half a mile from the house, so
That's
it's
convenient.
convenient.
25 years.
25 years, and so it's been good.
That's good, yeah.
He started in dump, and he's done hopper, and he is in plastic now. He's, I guess, dirt tank and then plastic. So I think we've hit just about every division along the way.
Well, that's good. That gives him a perspective of the whole company, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, he has a pretty good perspective.
I didn't realize he did hopper. I thought maybe he did. I
He
guess
did for a couple years.
Did he? Yeah, he's done a little bit of everything then.
Yeah.
He's learned
He
every
loves
division.
it. He likes it. He really does like it.
Eric's a good guy. I see him once in a while out here on the yard.
He's a
you know.
runner. He is.
Yeah, he works.
He won't sit still for long. He likes to work.
He does. He gets after it. I mean, both these guys, we've got some good owner operators. I mean, we really do. Do y'all know a lot? Y'all never have met, have you, till this morning?
No.
Never known each other or anything. You know, sometimes a lot of people meet each other at company party, which we didn't get to have this year. But
Yeah, I missed that because that's the one time I do get to meet people has been at that.
Yeah.
Because I work full time, so I don't really meet a whole lot of anybody else. But
You been to the
I
company
enjoy
party,
that.
Sherry?
A few times, yeah. But there's so many, and
I
it's
know.
hard to keep everybody in perspective when you meet.
Well, you've got truck drivers, you got employees, you got some families. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot to.
I've enjoyed it though because everybody's so friendly at all
Yeah.
those events.
Oh yeah, they're nice. We really enjoy it.
Well, if I notice a lot of our owner operators make good friends with each other here. You just see a camaraderie amongst a lot of them here, that they got good friends that either they started the company with or they just met them throughout the way. So I'm sure Eric and Terry probably got some friends here too that they know
Oh yeah.
real well, keep up with every day,
yeah.
don't they? What kind of farm? You said you and Eric had a farm somewhat back home?
Yeah. It's a small farm. We used to have cows. Once the kids got older, we kind of got. That's no more. But we still have horses and goats and everything. We still have everything else.
No, you have to take care of that. Well,
It's not a have to. I do. It doesn't.
You like it?
I like it. It's
Not too bad.
not too bad.
That's good. That's good. And you got the boys grown. You said they're in their 20s. I got 2 in their 20s.
Yeah, they're grown. They don't live too far, so if I need help, they can come by and help with this.
And Laura, you said y'all's are grown, 7 of them, or no?
Yeah, Terry has 2 boys that are in their 30s, mid-30s, that are pretty much grown for sure. And then I've got 2 girls, and he's got 2 other boys and a girl that are all in their 20s. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Big family then. That's fun. I love big
Yeah,
family.
his youngest 2 and my 2 children are real close to the same age.
Okay.
Like my oldest daughter and his youngest son are only 6 months apart in age. So.
All right.
Yeah.
That's good. What about, have either one of you ladies been on the road in the truck much? Or have
Oh,
y'all?
I have.
You have?
Yes.
Like at
Cross country, yeah, when he did. I've pretty much been even into Canada.
Is that when he was working here?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
When he was here, probably about 3.5 weeks, I stayed on a couple of different times. Started out here, went into New Orleans, went to Virginia, cut back across, went all the way to Washington, California. I mean, we've pretty much hit.
What's life on the road like?
It's good.
Is it?
It was a little awkward once the cameras kind of went in the trucks because you're not you're always like that. It's right here in the window, so you're kind of like, you don't want to talk or say something or.
Oh, because it's yeah, but it's just facing forward. I mean, it's not facing like at you. It's just facing out the traffic.
It's just awkward.
Well, that's one of the reasons my husband doesn't work for one of the other trucking companies is they put them in where they face forward and into the cab both.
Oh, I've heard about those.
And that's
too.
why I went owner-operator and didn't work for that company
That's
anymore.
getting a little too.
It's your personal space.
Little
Yeah,
That's
they
too
were
where you
listening
live.
in and watching everything you do, and that's your home.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's a
that's
little invasive there,
Personal space there.
isn't it? Yeah, but
But
you
no,
like.
I got over it. I mean, I got used to it. It just
Yeah.
at first it was kind of like,
Don't say anything.
don't say anything. But
We're- trust me, we're not listening.
Well, I thought y'all got way too much
Yeah,
going on.
trust me, we're not listening at all. Have you been in a truck with Terry?
A few times, not very often though. With me working,
Right.
not a whole lot of opportunity to go with him.
So what's it like being the wife of a truck driver? I mean, is it easy? Is it hard? You got to get used to things.
Yeah, you have to. For me, anyway, you have to be pretty independent and able to do a lot because, like, he's only home weekends most of the time. Is about all I ever see him, and you have to have really good communication between the two of us. Like,
How do
we
y'all
call
communicate?
and text
Okay.
several times a day and stuff like that.
So you make it a point daily. You talk to each other.
Yes. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
You got to have that communication. I agree with that too. I mean, that's. What about you, Sherry?
That's a key.
Y'all-
That's a key. The cell phones, being able to talk to them any time of the day or leave a message and they can call you back. That makes a world of difference.
And like when he first went on the road, we did a lot of FaceTiming. Occasionally we will now, but that helps too that you can do that because then you can actually see them too.
Yeah. Well, we've been married 27 years and been together about 30, so there's no FaceTime.
So what was it like? What was it like before cell phone?
He's not a FaceTimer.
He's not a FaceTimer.
No, but no, he
you remember
drove
the
for
day-
13 years for Conway Freight, and that was hard. We had young kids then, and he had a cell phone, and he'd call home one time a night to check in. That was really, really hard. That was a struggle, having young kids and having all the other stuff to take care of and working full time. Back then I worked 2 jobs, had the kids.
Wow.
And I saw him, he slept during the day and was gone at night. So,
Oh, so
he drove to Mississippi turn.
So he came back.
Well, it
But-
wasn't real. I really only saw him for about 45 minutes to an hour per day.
Wow. Yeah, that's.
And then on the weekends. And then he was so sleep deprived at that point from driving to Mississippi and back. It was hard.
It's hard to keep a marriage and a family together when
It's a
that's going on.
struggle,
isn't it?
yeah.
I mean, any advice you'd get? Because I would say we got listeners right now that are going through that. Their husband's gone, all week, a week or two at a time, and they got kids at home that are small, and she's got a job and trying to piece it together. Y'all got any? I mean, what? That's hard to get through, isn't it?
Well, it's like she said, you've got to be pretty independent and pretty strong-willed, and you need to have the same mindset going in. Him and I pretty much have the same mindset on, how we wanted our kids raised and the way we wanted them to be, and I knew he was always there for backup if I have to call your dad.
Oh, that's the famous line, isn't
Yeah.
it? Don't make me call your dad.
Yeah, he'll be in eventually.
Yeah. That's got to be hard for a dad, too, to be gone and try to discipline your kids over the phone or, I got to come in. I can remember me and my wife, of course, I've been very lucky to work here and be home every night. Most of the time I travel a little bit. But, I can, when they were little and I'd come in the door and she said, you're going to have to take care of this one. You're going to have to whoop this one. Or this one's got a problem. I'm like, all right, I've been at working all day and I got to come home. I haven't seen my kids all day and first thing I do is whoop them.
Yeah, that's one thing I
But
did.
no,
But-
I didn't ever do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would I didn't wait for Dad to come home to do the discipline thing.
Yeah.
I did that.
You had to, didn't you?
Yeah, because you don't want him to have to come home and deal with that after being gone.
Yeah, you had to.
Yeah. That,
Now, I will say I've had him get on the phone with his youngest son a couple of times whenever he was living with us. It's like, okay, you got to talk to him.
Yeah, well, the kids, they don't see Dad.
Yeah.
Dad's an important role in a family, and they don't see him, and it's hard to, it's always Mom all the time when they're young. That's tough. That's a challenge, I guarantee you. So hard to raise a family with them on the road. But, pre-cell phones, really hard.
it was really tough with them being little.
You didn't even, you have to stop at a payphone. Truck drivers would. When I started, that's the only way they communicated. Stop at a payphone and call somebody.
See, Terry wasn't in, he's only been in trucking for about 8-9 years now. So
Okay.
when we first started dating, he wasn't doing the truck driving thing. He
Right.
got into that later. So.
How did he get into it? Do you know? He just...
He got tired of, he started out, his dad had a pump business, and he did that for years, and then that was in Heber Springs, and they went to City Water. Well, he lost all of his pump customers then and had to find something else to do, and he worked several different warehouse jobs, driving the forklifts and stuff, and he saw what the truck drivers made versus what he made, and so...
Made sense to do it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Him had a good heart talk about it, about what it was going to take and everything, and that was...
You got to raise kids. You got to have some good income for sure.
Yeah.
Good info. Good stuff right there. We're visiting with Sherry Eads and Laura Floyd. They are wives of two of the owner-operators that work here at Oakley Trucking, and just getting a little insight from them on how their life is being married to a truck driver, and also him working for Oakley Trucking. So it's good stuff. How do you guys any stuff? I know y'all made notes. Y'all got anything as far as marriage there on you want to share with us? Or
Well, I was talking about how I haven't been in the truck with him so much, but like one of the things I think had on your notes was about kind of funny stories and different stuff that you have to kind of do. Was with me working full time, like one of my stories was he broke down once in Paris, Texas, and he calls me up and had me run to Kenworth after I got off work and pick up a part and drove it to him. And he's in this little dirt parking lot that he found a spot to pull over, and he has to repair the truck. And then I had to get back in my car and drive back all night so I could go to work the next day.
Yeah.
So you have to, that's the type of teamwork that you have to have in a marriage to make it work.
run parts to him while he broke down. That happens. That's good.
Yeah, I usually get a list of, I'll be home this day. I need this, 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 and this. These are the parts numbers. Here's the truck serial number. Head to Peterbilt or
get
everything purchased to make sure it's there when he gets home. And so you're in there either helping him grease the truck, work on the truck when he's home, hand him wrenches, tools, whatever.
That's awesome, though.
Whatever you need to do. Well, whatever you need to do.
Yeah,
It's a teamwork.
It's a team. You got, and you want to spend time together somehow. I don't think a lot of wives are gonna take them parts. I may be wrong, but I guess.
I've driven to Texarkana to go meet him because something had broke down, and you got to either go get him or you do what you have to do.
Or if you want to be able to spend the weekend with them, he runs out of time in Fort Smith, and I've drove Fort Smith or Memphis or several different places and we'll just make a weekend of it over there. Or if he's like as far as Russellville or something, I might go pick him up and drive back and have to take him back then Monday morning early in the morning before I go to work.
Father's Day, he was gone one Father's Day, and he was in Mississippi. I think is as far as he had to do his reset. So, our kids were older. They were home, but I left them at home.
No, you did not.
Stayed with him for Father's Day.
The kids at home.
Well, they were, I think, like 18 and 20 or something. Yeah. They could have cared less. But I just hated for him to be sitting there all weekend. So we went and drove around and looked at sites and did whatever.
Get to see some different things, I guess.
We do. There's a lot of stuff. One of the crazy stories, when I was riding with him, I believe it's in Oregon. It's Cabbage Mountain. Have you ever heard of it? It's one of the world's deadliest mountains.
Oh, the roads?
The road, and it is super sketchy. Well, we get up on that trip, one of the trips across country, and we get up there, and they had closed it down because it had iced over.
So is it going down or going up?
Going up is not so bad, but when you come off the back side of it, it is literally, there's no shoulder.
Oh, no.
And these trucks, and it's pretty much all big trucks coming out, and you're just doing these little pin turns all the way back down. Well, we get up there, and they finally open it back up. But that was probably the most adrenaline I have ever had in my body.
Looking out the window?
Sitting in the seat just the whole time, because you're like, there's no edge, and you're on your brakes the whole time, and it's literally just doing this all the way down.
I couldn't do it.
It was nerve-wracking. Like, the first place we could stop, we stopped after that. Both of us were just like, and it was iced over, and you're thinking your brakes could ice, they get hot. You just think of all the crazy stuff. And we come out of that the next day and ended up in Wyoming in a blizzard. You could not see the road.
Oh.
So within like a couple of days, I got a lot of gray hair over that trip. But we've seen moose and elk, and
that's a good experience, though. I mean, that's good to see that.
You really don't know until you get in the truck and a little bit more long term with them and see the stress from getting from point A to point B and the trouble and the trials that they go through. That kind of gives you a better perspective of the stress of the job.
Did it give you an idea of other drivers on the road of maybe how you ought to drive better?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That was the first thing was, before I was married to a truck driver, people don't realize how they take their life in their own hand. They have like a little bit of space between the trucks that they're trying to leave so that they have braking room, and people don't realize a truck can't stop like what a car can, and they're taking their life in their hands whenever they just like brake right in front of this big semi.
Well, they don't understand the weight of that truck.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. The weight of that truck being 80,000 pounds loaded, and that force of nature, it cannot stop on a short.
No, they should have they should be required to get a driver's license. You got to go through some kind of course knowing the 18-wheelers cannot stop. I mean,
if they weren't loaded, it'd be hard to stop. But when they're fully loaded, these trucks cannot stop on a dime.
If you're hauling certain, like Terry, some of his loads early on, the company he was working for, it was metal parts, and they had like an extra steel part in between the sleeper thing, so that if he had to stop too hard, it wouldn't come through, and you don't have a metal
headache
rod
rack.
The headache
coming
rack.
through.
Whenever he did a job before Oakley, a flatbed or something, you have to have that headache rack on there. You don't understand that kind of stuff. I know it. I see them every day, driving like they don't know. I mean, they're just not educated on truck drivers for sure.
You have to worry about your load shifting on you.
Let's talk a little bit, if y'all don't mind, not getting too personal, but I sent this over to maybe talk a little bit about how you manage your business and manage, if it's a separate business, how you manage the money and keeping things separate. I think a lot of people will be interested on, hearing how your story is and how you manage things. Everybody does different, on that, because he's an independent contractor, got his own company. It's a little more responsibility than just being a driver, because you got, you're getting gross money, you got to pay taxes, you got to. I mean, it can look like a lot of money in the beginning, and then the time you take out all the expenses and everything, it dwindles away. So
the first year he was driving, he had gotten a used truck. Was about all we could afford to do. Couldn't do brand new. We're starting out, whenever as an owner operator, and thank goodness we had an extended warranty thing. But even with the warranty, the motor blew on it, and that truck was in the shop for 7 weeks, which means 7 weeks without pay. And in addition, on top of what warranty covered, we had to pay out $20,000
How do you
for
recover?
repairs.
I mean, how do you do that?
It was like, thank God we had good credit, because we had to go to the bank and take out a loan and pay it back over a 2-year period for that loan in addition to the truck loan, you know. And that's one of the things you have to learn is you might have this good paycheck, but you need to learn to budget and put money back for repairs, and you need to have, you know.
Do you keep it separate, Laura, the truck money and the home money? I mean, do you have
Yes.
like a...
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we like pay ourselves basically, and we have an account that's like the business account that money is in to take. That's we try not to touch, you know, and make sure we have enough there for paying quarterly taxes and any type of repairs on the truck and stuff. And if you don't do that, you're gonna have yourself in trouble pretty quick.
Yeah, you kind of got to keep it separate, don't you? I hear a lot of owner-operators say that. They try to keep that separate.
I think that's probably where most people fail as an owner-operator is they think, oh, I'm doing good, and they don't think about, well, while you're doing good, you need to be putting that money back for whenever something happens or you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, tires, $4,000. You know, you got to have that money set aside to be able to do that, to manage it for sure.
And when his motor blew, he was in another state, so he waited a couple days to kind of see what was going on with the truck, but then he had to rent a car to drive back and another car back there, you know, stuff.
You don't understand all the downtime. You're without money. You got to go get money to get the truck fixed. So managing money is key to being a successful owner operator. What about y'all,
It is.
Sherry?
Well, we do as well, and you learned pretty much in the beginning. We started out with a used Freightliner truck and he started in 2012. Had it for a couple years before he was able to purchase a new truck about 2015. But we had lots of trials and tribulations with that first one. I think the first repair bill ended up being like 10 grand. And we were, you're scrambling because you're just getting started good. But what we've learned over the years is, you know, putting back extra, using Oakley savings. So much of his check each week goes into his savings. That's set aside.
Is that you set that aside for the truck?
Yes.
Okay.
Either that, and if that quarter we're doing great, we'll add it into our tax, you know, send it off for tax. You know, we just try to do quarterly and to get that in.
Taxes are a big deal, aren't they?
It's a huge issue, and if you're not careful, like she said, you can get yourself in a bind quick because you're thinking, oh, I got this much extra. But if you don't budget,
Yeah, see,
you can get
with
behind.
me doing accounting, that kind of helped because I actually
yeah.
sat down on a spreadsheet and filled out a budget of what all we need to pay bill-wise. And like I said, we kind of basically pay ourselves a paycheck out of his check when he gets paid each week. He has his account that goes into, and he transfers some of it into our joint account that we pay our bills from, and the rest gets left in that business account for business expenses.
That's perfect. That's a good way to do that.
but we also use that ATBS.
Yeah.
We really
do
like
too.
them.
Do you?
Yes,
That's
that's
good.
been great. And you can call them if you have any questions. They have a lawyer, Barney Moran, that he'll get back with you. Generally, if something's not going on, he'll get back with you pretty quickly and answer any questions. And they work.
They're a good company.
They're a great company.
They really are. I know Jeff Amon over there and Todd Amon, and we stay in contact with them. That's why we refer them, because they're so good. I mean, they take care of. That's all they do is truck drivers and owner
And it's
operators.
simple. It's their little app that they do. I mean, it's just as simple to work.
Yeah, it makes it nice, and they compare your money you're making with other companies and what they're making, so it kind of gives you an idea where you stand at Oakley too. You know, whether we're being successful or not at Oakley. So that makes a big difference. You know, when you can do that. Managing money is, I mean, it's been a fight that we've been trying to do and help our owner operators for years, because it's human nature. I think it's hard to be disciplined when you make a lot of money. You start seeing a lot of money in that account, and you're like, I'd really like to do a few things, but you got to think about the taxes. You got to think about the $20,000 repair bill that might come if I don't have warranty, or, just those. I got to be saving up for another truck because most of these trucks depreciate. They lose their value. So when you go to buy another one, it's not worth a whole lot. The one you just wore out, because you are wearing it out. It's a tool for sure. But I mean, it's something you got to do. I heard yesterday, and an owner operator called me, and he said, "Come look at this truck I want to buy." So I go out here to the parking lot, look at it. Nice Peterbilt. I said, it wasn't a brand new one. I said, "Well, why don't you get you a new one? You deserve a new one. You've been doing this a long time." And he said, "Man, I got to buy something. It's either the tax man get it or I got to buy a truck." So he was caught right then of I got to buy a truck or pay taxes, something.
Expenses.
Yeah. Which I've always said it's kind of a good problem to have because you're making money. At least you're making money, and that's a big plus there. So I mean, you got to pay taxes, but you only pay taxes if you make money, right?
Well, and this is a business, and you need to work it kind of like a business. It's how much do you want to work, and that's how you make your money.
Yeah. I've told this before on the podcast. That's why we do that annual bonus. Y'all familiar with the? I hope you're familiar with it, and your husbands haven't kept it from you. But they get the first year 5 cents on all their loaded miles, second 6. I mean, it just keeps going up. And I guess they've been here. What'd you say? 8 years, and Terry's been here 4.
Yeah,
3 or 4 or something.
And with him, with his hire date being December, it's nice because it's right here at end of year. Like if we have anything we had to put on the card from Christmas, or if we didn't put enough back for taxes, then we can use it for that.
Good. So y'all look forward to that little annual bonus, don't you? It's
or vacation. We did that 1 year too. We didn't have to spend on something else, and we went on a cruise.
Yeah, that's okay. That was one of the things that we did in the beginning was we tried to come up with a plan to save for owner-operators, guys that didn't know how to manage their money very well, and they get this
safety net kind of.
Yeah, something to give them something to look forward to every year, and it's worked out great. And then plus we do the wife card, y'all.
Yes.
Get the wife card once a year, so we try to do that with everybody, and that's a nice little gesture too for just you getting it. Y'all don't give it to them, do you? You don't let them spend it, do you?
I'm not.
Come on, Sherry.
Everybody in our crew, we don't have like your money or my money. It's not really like that. After this long, usually I use it for like Christmas or something. I think I bought his Christmas. I bought his Christmas with it this year.
No.
I usually end up spending it on the kids.
I bought his Christmas with it.
Ladies,
this year.
this is for y'all. It's yours. It's not his. It's
and like
not...
our oldest grandkid's getting ready to be 2 in January, so he's getting real fun age to buy 4.
I mean, I don't have any grandkids yet, and I hope mine wait just a little bit. But
we've got one that'll be 2 in January, and then one that's 3-4 months old now.
That's good. Well, we do the wife card because we want y'all to have something. So I
and
guess
we
you can use
appreciate
it.
We do appreciate it.
Use it on whatever you want to. I encourage you to use it on yourself, but
There's been some years that I have, but.
What else? Do y'all have anything to add to this conversation that would maybe, help a truck driver's wife at home on any situation or anything you want to add to us that you might have made a note of?
I think the communication, that was the huge note. I mean, try to make him feel like he's doing a good job. He's spending all this time, and it's stressful, and it's hard just trying to be there for him, communicate, and be patient.
Between each other.
Gotcha. I mean, if you're fussing and fighting, that's stressful for him, and he's trying to drive, and it's not worth it. In a day, you just want to be able to come back home whenever it's time for them to come home and safely.
You'd asked about one of your questions you had noted that was about advice to wives of other drivers and stuff. And my advice is if you're thinking about your spouse becoming an owner-operator and stuff, you need to be able to the spouse needs to be able to be an independent person because you're going to have to be able to do stuff while they're away from home. And you have to have trust in your marriage and really good communication and be able to budget and if you work good as a team and you can do all that, then you have a good chance of it being successful business.
I think that trust is a big word right there that you said. That
Yes.
you got to be able to trust each other, because if you can't, it messes your mind up, and it takes you down a dark path that you don't want to go. And you got to be able to trust each other, and it feels good to be in a trustful marriage where you don't have to worry about that stuff. Like you did when you were teenagers, and whether your boyfriend was cheating on you or not,
Where he was at, or
where he
what
was
he's
at,
doing,
all
yeah.
that stuff. That's all.
Yeah.
Immature stuff that you get past that with a marriage, and it's good to be that trust is a good word. You got to be able to trust one another. That makes that's a foundation there. You got to make it. So, well, good stuff. I can't say enough. I appreciate you ladies coming in and doing this for us, and I think it's going to be some good information for our listeners out there, and get them informed of the life of a truck driver's wife, and help our owner operators and what they do too. We're here to make our owner operators successful. That's what we want to do, and we try to do it every day the best we can, and keep good owner operators and find more. So it's good for all of us. I appreciate y'all hanging with us. Wives are important to us, and I wanted our listeners to understand that today. We are looking forward to getting this out on YouTube also, so y'all tune in to our YouTube channel when you get a chance. And if you got any questions about Oakley Trucking, be sure and give us a call, 800-662-0875, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for joining us, ladies.
Thank you.